Not a good pack of snow. Clearing snow every day. I left the snowblower here yesterday because the first time I'm actually cleaning the road here on the south side. That's how much is falling. So I'm gonna drive it back there because here it melts fast. The sun is getting warmer. So yeah, you can see where the snow starts. I think at around 600 meters you can see this sort of green white hue and it builds up. Yeah, slowly it is getting warmer. Beginning of February, longer days. It is noticeable. So, but yeah, still a lot of snow. Takes up half of my time around it. So. reaching the final layers of the roof. These are the battens. So maybe it's a good moment to talk about all the layers and why they are there, and why that prevents something like ice dams, for example. I hear that's a big problem at the moment in the US, where there's a lot of snowfall in areas where it doesn't snow that often, and where people have shingle roofs that are not so well insulated. You get ice dams on the edge of the roof because the snow melts here because of the heating of the home, and that water streams down, but then that part of the roof which is outside of the walls, it stays cold, the water freezes again, so it creates a dam. Water is pooling and it seeps in between shingles and comes inside. I see it like now everywhere, so I guess it's a big problem. Not very likely to happen here because here there's enough insulation and enough layers in between. So on top of this is going to be the stones. They're still on the battens. They're over there, and they keep out almost all of the water, and they're going to be laid very tightly. They're also a good protection against falling branches from these trees. Sometimes there's very strong storms, and all things that fall on the roof here, it's not going to do anything because these stones are so incredibly heavy. Only when there's like storms where the rain goes like horizontal, like very powdery snowstorms, it might get underneath the stones, and then it drips onto here, which is the second waterproof layer, tarmac, basically tar paper. Those are separated by these counterbattens, so these are sort of a spacer in between, so water can move down freely. And also what is very important here, that is just airflow, is air able to come through, so you have never this problem of when you heat the cabin, which I will do eventually. There's going to be a wood stove, but it's never going to be that hot. But that insulation that's in here, that stops it from heating up the snow and heating up the stones. So those stones will be always fairly cold, and the snow will pack up and it will act as an extra insulation. It will never melt because there's airflow here. On top of these counterbattens there's going to be a hardware cloth, just put in a first layer. We have a lot of dormice here, and they tend to hibernate in roof insulation, and they eat through wood. They're kind of like, they're a big mouse, they're kind of like a squirrel, a bit smaller. So the hardware cloth prevents them from digging in and damaging the roof. You need that here. So then the insulation is in between here, that's 8 centimeters. Then there's a vapor barrier, so that's a third waterproof layer, which is not really for rainwater but more for condensation. So that's on the warm side of the insulation. If you do a lot of heating inside and it's very cold outside, you could have a moisture build up there. So it keeps the roof on the inside dry, so your wood doesn't rot. Then there's tongue and groove boards. Those are the kind of the closure of the roof, visible inside. And then underneath that is the rafters and beams that are the structural part of the roof that keep everything up. They're big because the roof is incredibly heavy with those stones. Quick calculation, I have 90 roof stones here. They are all about 80 kilograms I believe. Yeah, I think they're 80 kilograms, so times 90, that's 7,200 kilograms. So it's a lot. Trying to find the perfect layout for the battens. It's a bit different from the first roof because that has irregular stones, so the more battens you have on the roof, the more flexible you are with attaching the roof stones. But here, because these are all the same size, also the placement of the battens is predetermined. So the layout needs to be fitting. So basically every stone is resting on the first row and is attached on the battens on the back. So this will have first all triangles, that's where it starts with, the first row, as well as these ones on the corners. And so those will be attached to here. And the next row, the first complete stones will be attached to here. And then I'm gonna, to repeat this pattern, I'll put a fake batten in between there. So it's more for the visual look. So it looks the same as over there. I think it was about the same pattern. Yeah, I need to fix my big angle grinder because these small ones, it goes slow. These thick stone slabs. It's a lot of cutting first. I'll probably get some help the coming weeks. Because this is going to be heavy work. Ella's not here, she's coming back. She's away for her own projects for 3 weeks or so. She should be back not next week but the week after. Yeah, this is an exciting part. Next week, start with the roof stones.